good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We have people joining, I guess, from every part of the globe. So wherever you are and whatever time it is, welcome. Before I start today, I want to pay my respects and acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which I stand and speak with you today. And I want to pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. Thank you to Gertrude, to Ruth, to all the amazing people that have worked for months to put on this summit. Things like this don't just happen overnight, as we all know, and it takes a lot of hard work and often a lot of people working behind the scenes and many late nights that we don't often see to make things like this possible. So thank you all for your hard work. To all of the speakers here today that have spoken before me, that will speak after, and in the days to come, thank you for having the courage, for getting up, for sharing your story. I honestly believe that when we can open ourselves and allow ourselves to be vulnerable and share stories that we have learned from and grown through, that is when we can engage, that we can empower, and we can truly inspire other people. So to all the speakers on the platform today, I acknowledge you and I say thank you. I want to start today by asking you, have you ever felt like you are not enough? Maybe raise your hand or give me a nod. Yep, I'm seeing 2 hands go up. Yeah. Have you ever felt like you're worthless? Have you had someone in your past or someone even in your present today that is telling you that you will never be enough, that you will never be who you want to be, that you will never become what you want to become or achieve those dreams that you set out to because of what they believe of you, because of their limiting beliefs or their ideas that then they oppose on you? And what starts happening then is that we start believing that. I draw on a quote here that Jay Shetty uses by Charles Cooley, where he says, I am not what I think I am, and I'm not what you think I am, but I am what I think you think I am. And what that means is we start believing that narrative that other people are telling us, that we're not strong enough, we're not good enough, we will never be enough. And when we start believing that, that's how we start behaving. Because we know that what we think is what we feel, and what we feel is how we then start behaving. So what happens then is we start behaving as if we will never be anything, as if we will never become anything. And I draw here from a quote by Marianne Williamson that I really love, where she says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. But because of that narrative, we start asking ourselves, who am I to be fabulous, gorgeous, talented, brilliant? Who am I to be able to do all those things? But today, I want to ask you to really lean in and think about the beautiful next line in that quote, where she says, well, actually, who are you not to be? Actually, who are you not to be? See, I grew up in India, all the way back in the 1980s in a city called Calcutta. And back when I was growing up, I was told that everything about me was wrong. Now, this wasn't because I was left-handed. No, that was something that my late grandmother experienced. In her time, you see, being left-handed was wrong. It was out of the norm, something that society didn't think was normal. So they put a bag over her hand, they asked her to put it behind her and to use her right arm. But over time, my gran became ambidextrous. But when I was growing up, it wasn't just my left hand that was the problem. No, it was every single part of me. It was the way I stood. It was the way I walked. It was the clothes I wore, my hairstyle, my accessories, the way I spoke to other people, everything about me, I was told, was wrong because I was seen as being different. I was seen as being someone that didn't fit the mold of a good Indian Christian girl, or so I was told. But back then, growing up, I didn't realize and even know why my differences were so wrong. Why was I being bullied in school for words that I couldn't describe, for feelings that I couldn't describe? And as each part of my being was stripped, my clothes, the way I walked, my accessories, as every part of me was stripped off, I felt bits of me taken away. I lost my confidence, my self-belief, my self-worth, my authenticity, my uniqueness. Every bit of me was stripped off. And I began living a shelled version of myself, a version that I could no longer even recognize in the mirror. And how that then played out in my life was I saw failure. I saw failure in school. I saw failure through university. I saw failure in relationships, in life. I had become a failure. I was failing myself. And it took me years and years of self-discovery, of moving to a different country, and of years of self-exploration to get to a point where on the 8th of December 2011, I found myself standing alone on the balcony on the 6th floor of my 2-bedroom apartment. It was a cold winter's day, about 5 p.m. in the evening, and I had chosen this exact time and place through many months because of what I was about to do. I had chosen this place because it was far enough so my neighbors wouldn't be able to see me, but also private enough so if my flatmate came home, she wouldn't know what I was about to do. You see, what I was about to do was something that I had never, ever done before. And as I stood there trembling in fear, my palms were sweaty, my knees were shaking, my stomach felt churning. I felt like I was on a roller coaster being pulled backwards. Because what I was about to do was to pick up the phone and call my sister who was all the way in India, who I hoped would be home in her apartment on the first floor. And I hoped that she would pick up that phone call. But as I stood there trembling that day in fear, I knew in that moment that I had to draw on every ounce of courage in my being. I had to tap into every bit of strength in my body. And it was that day that I had to break every single limiting belief that everyone around and I myself had put onto myself. And I had to break through fears, years of fear, to finally be able to pick up that phone and say the words, I am gay. And when I finally said those words, I felt this rush of emotions. I felt free. I felt like this weight lifted off me. And the emotions just came flooding through. But I held onto that balcony and I grounded myself, waiting with bated breath for what my sister was going to say. How would she take this news? The next 3 words that she said to me, those 3 words made the biggest impact ever. The 3 words that she said to me completely changed my coming out journey, and it put me on a path that has led me to where I am today. A place where I feel comfortable, confident to stand in my own truth and to live authentically as who I was always meant to be. But this hasn't happened overnight. It's been through years of self-discovery, of looking deep within, of being broken and being rebuilt to finally be myself. And it's when I was able to be myself, that's when I saw true transformation in my life. I saw doors open for me that I didn't dream possible. I've now seen my career set on a trajectory that I never imagined. And that has come from me being able to tap in and be myself and to love myself, because it's only when we can do that that we allow other people to do the same. Back to that quote where she says, when we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give permission to others to do the same. When we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And through being able to be myself, I have grown and I have allowed myself to build back piece by piece of my self-belief and my confidence. And I now know today that when you're able to do that, when you can be yourself and believe in yourself, you allow then to back yourself. So often we think about being able to back other people. I know Gertrude has my back. I would go in and back my family and friends. But when it comes to backing ourselves, we stop, we question, we think, why? How can I back me? Am I worth it? But I can tell you truly today, when you are able to be yourself and believe in yourself and back yourself, that is when anything is possible. And I talk about this framework in my book that's coming out very shortly. My book is called Growing Through. It's going to be out on Amazon very soon. And it's about how coming out transformed my life. And in doing that, I have literally been able to grow through life. And I know you're probably thinking now, what is this growing through that she keeps talking about? Well, the way I see it is in life, we often get to a point where there's no way out. There's no way around. The only way is through. And at that point, we each get to make a choice. Do we choose to just go through? Do we choose to get through? Or do we really make a conscious decision to grow through life? Because it's when we allow ourselves to grow through, that is when change happens. That is when there is potential and there is growth. So I encourage each of you today to live your true, authentic self. Because when you can be yourself, believe in yourself, and back yourself, anything is possible. And that's when you can really start growing through. Thank you.